They shot like 80% in the second quarter. But it seemed like you guys were trying to get to closeouts. So is this just a night where they were hot?
Yeah, I mean, they made shots. Give them credit. And they have guys who, out their career, have been professional shooters. Bogdanovich, Burks, Gallo, like those guys make shots. And they were tough ones. There was a fadeaway in the corner that was extremely difficult. Bogdanovich hit a couple like highly contested. So give them credit. They made shots tonight.
Jarrett was able to fight through that illness, so you actually got to play your guys for the first time in a long time. How did you think it looked?
I thought it was good. Again, it's going to take us some time just because of how the rotation has to be kind of jumbled when you've got starters on, limited minutes, especially that number 20 to 24. So guys are kind of in and out and trying to find their rhythm. So it'll take us some time. But again, I thought they guys tried to do what we asked them to do. And we're going to be good. Once we get an opportunity to kind of just let it all settle in, we'll figure each other out, and we won't have those ups and downs that we had tonight.
Yeah. Coach, 20 points in the fourth quarter from Donovan, obviously 45 points overall, but it's Donovan. Can you expound on what he's meant to this organization?
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy who's a closer. You got a guy who you feel like when the game is on the line, you have him and they don't. And that's going to give you an opportunity to win. And we've seen it before, but every time you watch it, you marvel at it because of his ability to do it in the big moments and when it was needed. Again, he's a guy who obviously can help finish games for us. I thought that last group, as well, you got to give Jarrett credit. Like, Jarrett was out of it. You know what I mean? Like, he had nothing. I think he had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich all day today. But still figured out a way, because he wanted to go out and help his teammates win, to just dig down and go and get it. Isaac, we can't talk enough about him. Vert, Max, those guys, they just did a phenomenal game, phenomenal job of closing down that game for us.
Yep. And they were all right down here. JV, what did you make of Darius's first game back? I'm sure there's probably the excitement and the jitters, of course, but he played pretty well in those 20-ish minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, he showed, particularly offensively, how easy the game can be for him, and how many different ways that he can beat you. So I thought, he was aggressive. I thought he was, he looked quick. He was attacking the basket, mixed his game up, tried to get, as many threes as he could. He got 6 in 20 minutes, which I think is a good start for him. So I thought he was really good.
And Evan had mentioned this morning, but obviously he and Darius both were staying in shape while they were recovering, but Evan said it just doesn't compare to the actual in-game moments. Do you think it'll take long for them to kind of just get back in the swing of things like that, so not maybe as winded or gassed down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean they will, because these guys are elite athletes. But again, you got Evan, who was out for 6 weeks with a knee injury, so obviously you're limited in how much running and up and down you can do. Darius, the same thing, because how they wanted to keep his jaw solid, couldn't run, couldn't lift weights. There were so many things those guys were unable to do, that it's going to take a little bit of time. And again, you take that time off and you're playing against the best players on the planet. The game is fast. You know what I mean? So not only are you trying to figure out where the hell you are, but now you got to worry about the other team. So, again, they're really good. The conditioning piece will come, but, the speed of the game is going to come. It's just things that they've just got to work through.
Back row, sit.
Sapphire, WOVU 95.9 FM. First, congratulations
on
the victory. Given that this is your new baseline, you have your full complement of starters back, what did you see tonight that you can even start to build on tomorrow night, Coach?
I think it's just, the amount of talent and the amount of skill that's out on the floor. And, again, you can continue to be multidimensional because so many guys on the floor can do so many different things. And whether it's the starting lineup or your second unit, you got places that you can go where you feel like you have an advantage, and defenses are just going to have to make tough decisions. You look at the job that Isaac Okoro did coming off the bench now. now. So your depth is even that much more. Imagine him against, second unit guys and, him taking out those types of players. So, again, we've got depth, and it's going to be, up to all of us to kind of embrace that depth. I've got to figure out and do a, better job of handling the rotations and those things so people can get an opportunity to get comfortable. But again, those things will come, and I'm just, they're good problems to have. I'd rather have that depth than not.
Quick follow-up. George Yang's hand, is he okay?
From what I understand, yes, he's fine. Yeah, thank you.
Last one, Spence.
Spencer Davies, Kansas Cider. We've seen Jarrett with the four shooters lineup. We've seen Evan Mobley with the four shooters lineup. But I noticed you put the four shooters lineup there with Darius there at the end of the third. What do you like about just having that quartet of guys out there together, and what kind of versatility does that give you as a coach to be able to put them with pretty much anybody?
You've just got so much space. And when you have that space, you're dangerous. But I give our guys credit because they're not just a spacing offensive lineup. Like, those guys are dogged defenders as well. And that's why we feel confident that we can put them out there. If we were just going to put four guys out there that can't guard, you'd obviously struggle. But our guys are two-way players, and they take challenges, and compete on both ends of the floor. But again, you can do so many different things. You can pick and roll, you can drive and kick, you can 5 out, you can screen action, you can play, split game. Like, there's so many things you can do, not only because of their shooting, but they're skilled basketball players, right? All those guys can pass, as well. So it just makes you dangerous.
There's a lot to talk about with Isaac on the defensive end and whatever his offensive improvements are, but we rarely talk about his screening game. Up top, how valuable is that to your team, just to be able to create those switches and to honestly just create separation for his teammates?
Yeah, I think that's part of, how his game has evolved in a way that, we're able to use him depending on matchups and who they decide to put on him. We've seen, teams put, a lesser defender on him. So now if he gets involved in the action, that brings that guy into it. Now that guy has a tough assignment. We've seen teams put 5 men on him. So now we bring him into the action. That puts the 5 in the action. And now, we get an opportunity to attack and play through there. So, he just continues to get better. But what, again, I appreciate about Isaac so much is, like, never once has he focused on his individual improvement for the sake of himself. Everything that he's done and worked on is to help the team become a better team. And that, to me, you can't just say enough about a guy like that. And again, I'll say it again, we're extremely fortunate to have Isaac Okoro with us.